Hey there everybody, it's Leland the Realtor. We're gonna go over, do you really need a realtor to sell your home? And of course, please hit that like button, comment if you have any questions or suggestions for other videos. Let's get started. Now, I'm gonna just hit the nail on the head and let you know that you do not have to use a realtor to sell your home. You don't even have to use a realtor to buy a home. And because it's not required to have a realtor, you see many people selling their homes for sale by owner, but it's usually pretty rare to see someone buy a home without a realtor. And we're gonna cover that at the very end of the video, so stick around for that. So now that we know you don't have to have a realtor, do you want a realtor? To answer this question, we're gonna address the surface of what a realtor does by going over the paperwork, the marketing, the sales, and due diligence that's important to a seller to get top dollar for their home and avoid a lawsuit later down the road. All right, so let's get started with the paperwork. I will say we have been seeing a continual decrease in for sale by owners because of increased regulation by both federal and local governments. Selling your home used to be a 1 or 2 page document that was relatively easy to interpret, but now a contract is 16 pages long, and that doesn't include addendums like lead-based paint, HOAs, or many of the other required disclosures. So one of the main chunks of value that a realtor provides is when someone slaps a huge stack of legalese in front of you, you'll have a realtor to help advise and clarify things to make sure that there isn't any hidden language that could potentially hurt you. Because contracts are so large now, it's pretty easy to hide a handful of words that can be the difference between selling your home for what you want it for or being out a ton of money. Now it does state in the contract that the home is being sold as is, but, and it is a big but, and it is a really big but, it also states that the seller is required to disclose anything that is wrong with the home. So even if you're selling the home as is, if you don't appropriately disclose everything and then retain proof that you disclosed it, you could be on the hook years down the road. It's important to remember that we don't know what we don't know. So no matter how good your intentions are, they can sometimes come back and bite you. So a lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, I don't need a realtor to interpret that contract. I can just hire a lawyer. A lawyer is gonna understand the contract in depth even more than a realtor. And potentially you could save some money. And you absolutely can hire an attorney. And in many commercial real estate deals, they absolutely will not do anything without an attorney. But it's important to remember that lawyers are only the paperwork. There's a lot more that goes into selling your home than just that. One item an attorney just isn't gonna touch is the marketing of your property. So I know this is pretty straightforward, but marketing is getting your home in front of the right audience under the best light so you can get to the selling stage of your home. So let me explain it this way. Your home has a top value, a point where it can't sell for any more than that amount. And marketing is what shows your home it's worth that maximum amount. So the better your marketing, the closer to the maximum value you're gonna sell your home. Worse marketing, of course, means you're going to sell your home for less. So even if you have a magnificent home, if it's not marketed well, you're just not gonna get as much money for it. To keep it simple, you want the correct marketing for your home, because you never know exactly how much money you're leaving on the table with bad marketing. So then how do you prepare your home to actually market it correctly? When you're preparing to market your home, even seemingly small things can make a huge difference. Picking the right paint color, depersonalizing the home, decluttering, making repairs, increasing your curb appeal, and of course staging. These are all highly undervalued details that often get overlooked. And with the wrong people, you can lose thousands and never even know it. Having a solid interior designer or landscaping architect, depending on your property, has a substantial return on investment. All right, so now that you've contacted people to actually prepare your home to be marketed, you're going to need to find a good professional residential or architectural photographer to come take professional photos that will attract the right buyers into your home. Great photography was rated absolutely the most important item to home buyers when looking for a home online. Good enough photos just isn't gonna be good enough. You need a great photographer with an amazing portfolio to make sure they take the best possible photos of your home. All right, so the next really important step in marketing your home is the details on your home. Details keep buyers interested and is ranked the second most important among buyers, right behind photography. Details are items like how many square feet does it have? Does it have AC? Is there a 2-car garage? Or maybe is your laundry gas or electric? The list goes on and on for details. So just to give you an idea, there are actually several hundred details that go into a home listing, and those details can make a huge difference in terms of sales price. The less you tell a buyer about your home, the more they're gonna feel like you're hiding something. So the best policy is to just be open and honest and tell them as much as you can about the property. All right, so now that you have all the amazing photos and all the details you need to find the right audience. Not just any audience, marketing it to kindergartners is really just not gonna work. You need to market it to people who are looking to buy a home. These people are primarily found on websites like abqhomeanswers.com, Zillow.com, Trilly.com. These websites are full of people looking for homes and are probably the best audience you can go after, with the exception to one audience. There is a single audience that is better than all those websites, and that is the MLS. That gives you access to all the real estate brokers who have pre-qualified a whole bunch of buyers, and those buyers are the people who are ready to pull the trigger. So these are all things that you can do, but marketing alone can be very overwhelming, and not all people or realtors understand the value of marketing, but it is the single most overlooked process when selling a home. So if you're gonna do the marketing yourself, just make sure you go through an entire checklist on how to market your home. And if this is just something you're not interested in doing, then a realtor is definitely the way to go. All right, so now that you've done all those things to market your home and your home is now listed on the internet, on the MLS, and everywhere else you need it to go, then comes the actual sales process of selling your home. So sales is the actual function of how buyers are going to access your home and then be able to make an offer on it. Now, this is where we need to shift our mindset from how do I sell my house to how does a buyer shop for the home? When buyers are looking for homes, they will look at between 5 and 15 homes and typically schedule between 3 and 5 homes a day until they find the one they want. This means that because those buyers are looking at so many homes in a very short period of time, your home needs to be very easy to show. Most home showings happen within a few hours of a request, and because buyers are going to look at 3 to 5 homes, realtors will schedule homes in an organized manner, which means that flexibility is the most important thing. You don't want to have any buyers miss out on seeing your home because you couldn't unlock the door or have another way for them to access the home. Realtors usually solve the scheduling issue with scheduling software, and then they also have lock boxes that they place onto homes that are activated by Bluetooth from your phone. What the lock boxes also offer is every single time someone goes in or out of your property, it will timestamp when that realtor went in and went out. So you're able to actually hold that realtor accountable if, say, items are left missing or a buyer went into your home and maybe broke something. Now, it's important to remember that no matter what you do, crime and stealing and other things are possible. So you need to reduce the risk of theft or damage by just taking your items and putting them away, or just not having those expensive items there in the first place. But all that being said, now let's say you have a ton of home showings, lots of buyers are taking a look at it, but bad news, you're not getting any offers and your home just isn't selling. Now what? The first step that you need to take when your home just isn't selling, but you're getting a whole bunch of buyers walking through it, is to go through and contact every single realtor that has shown your home or every single buyer that's gone through your home to get honest and reliable feedback. This feedback can help you to determine if you need to fix something, if maybe you need to clean up a certain area, or maybe it wasn't easy enough to show, or potentially your home just needs a little bit longer to sell. And I wish I could say that, getting feedback from other realtors and buyers was easy, but very difficult to do. A lot of people don't want to hurt your feelings or seem rude, so they'll say, oh no, it was a nice house, it just wasn't for them. So just kind of be aware that that might be just some of the feedback you're getting, and you need to do your best to continually seek honest feedback on it. Now, a lot of realtors use a software that goes and reaches out to all the real estate brokers who have shown the home to get feedback such as, does it need more cleaning? Is it overpriced? How is the condition of the home in comparison to the other homes that they saw, to try to get the most honest feedback possible. But even though they contact every single real estate broker that shows your home, only about 50% of realtors are actually going to tell the listing realtor what's actually going on with the home and what honest feedback they have. Now, if this realtor is good, they will actually go and continue to reach out to those other brokers that have showed your home to make sure that they have gotten all the feedback they possibly can. All right, so once you have gathered all that feedback and made any necessary changes you needed to make in order to sell your home, whether it be from your marketing or improving the condition of your home or potentially lowering the price if that's what's needed, you will then get an offer. Now, once you get that offer, what exactly do you do with it? Before you go too deep into it, go into the last pages of it and there should be an expiration date that says, hey, you need to respond to our offer by this time or our offer expires and potentially could no longer be on the table. For the most part, people usually give about 24 hours to respond, but everyone's a little bit different. So if you're getting 24 hours to respond, that's definitely gonna give you some time to actually look through the contract and make sure everything looks good. So if you're pretty savvy in reading contracts and know all the contingencies that are going to be outlined and what they mean, you shouldn't really have any problems figuring out what's going on in the contract. Like I previously mentioned, with all the increased regulation between federal and local governments, contracts are getting increasingly confusing and there's just more and more information that's getting packed in there that can make it really, really difficult to decide what is actually going on in the contract. And I have even seen attorneys go to realtors because a lot of them are getting so jam-packed with information. So one thing to know is it's not just enough to understand the contract, but you need to execute that contract appropriately. If someone defaults, whether it be accidentally or intentionally, the other person can choose to terminate the agreement and move on. So let's say in your contract it says that the appraisal to determine the value of the home needs to be completed within 10 days of the date of acceptance. Well, on day 11, if the buyer has not ordered the appraisal, assuming that the buyer is the one who's supposed to order the appraisal, which depends on your contract, then that buyer could accidentally or of course intentionally be out of contract. And now you as a seller get to make the decision, well, maybe I have another offer on the table, or you can say, hey, it's okay, go ahead and just order it today and let's continue with the contract. Now, on the flip side of that coin, if you were supposed to order that appraisal and then you didn't, now you as a seller are out of contract and that buyer can leave, and depending on the contract, they can get their earnest money back. Now, the added benefit of a realtor, if you want to use one, is they will help guide you through the contract, what it means, what a normal contract is, and most importantly, speak up when something just isn't right. And then an added bonus on top of that is the realtor will actually keep track of any dates such as the inspection and appraisal and keep both you and the other party in contract. All right, so now that we have all of that out of the way, let's talk about the second surprise negotiation that's going to be in the contract. In the contract, it should say that the buyer is going to get an inspection on your home. And once all the inspections are completed, they're going to negotiate repairs on your home. Many buyers are going to ask to make lots and lots of repairs, and all of those repairs need to be completed before closing. Most of the time, you only have about a week or two to complete any repairs that they need done. So it's a good idea to have a bunch of contractors or professionals ready to go so that if there are any major or significant repairs, you can get them done as quickly as possible. Because again, if you do not complete those repairs by the deadline, then you are officially out of contract. And again, the buyer is able to back out of the contract and potentially get their earnest money back. So if you don't have that network of contractors, then a realtor is there to help navigate and negotiate these repairs and make sure that they get done in a timely manner. And of course, you're staying within what the contract says. On top of that, there are also many other contingencies, and a realtor will help you navigate any of these additional contingencies, because although we want everything to go smoothly when there are hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, a lot of the times things just don't go quite as smoothly as we want them to. In fact, that's the reason for such long contracts nowadays, is that things tend to not go as smoothly as we hoped. So now we have a whole bunch of plans in place just in case it doesn't go smoothly. Okay, now that you've gone through the contract, you've done everything you're supposed to do, and you made it to the closing table, you need to pay close attention to what's called the settlement statement. The settlement statement is a multi-page document that outlines the fees, the invoices, the purchase price, and all the items that go into selling your home. Because with the sheer volume of money, there can be thousands of dollars that is inappropriately charged or maybe charged to you instead of the buyer. Now, I will say title companies as a whole are made of honest people who just want to do the right thing. But, and this is a big but, I have yet to see a correct settlement statement on the first draft. So to put it lightly, contracts are getting so complicated and complex that title officers who read them daily mess them up. And a title officer will typically defer to a realtor to make sure that the settlement statement is correct for both the buyer and the seller. So it's really important to take your time and go through each fee, because you don't want their mistake to come out of your pocket. So pay very close attention to the settlement statement And of course, if you have a good realtor, they will actually go through the settlement statement for you and make sure that it is structured appropriately, and you're not paying anything more than you have to. And then a quick bonus tip is that most realtors will go through and make sure that all the invoices are with the title company, so nobody is chasing you down later, trying to get payment from you, or even worse, if someone decides to put a lien or a judgment against a property you have, or maybe you directly, if something wasn't paid. All right, so now you've closed and you can breathe easy. Just kidding, there's still more. What? What the? Okay, so now that you've closed, you need to actually take all the documents that you filled out, the contract, the addendums, the agreements, anything in that gigantic bundle of papers and anything that the other broker has, and file it in a safe location, or maybe put it in a cloud somewhere to make sure that you have access to those documents down the road. Now, the reason you want to put these in a safe location is if someone decides to file a lawsuit against you and then you can't reproduce any paperwork to defend yourself, like take for instance, when the buyer's moving into the home, they find a bunch of things that are wrong with the house that they didn't realize were wrong. If you have a piece of paperwork that says, no, I disclosed those items right here, right here, right here, and hey, the inspection noted that these things were wrong with the home, then you have the ability to present that in court if, take for instance, you ever end up to that point, which hopefully you never will. Realtors are required to keep all of their documents for a minimum of 6 years. Now, I argue to say that you should keep them for as long as you possibly can, which is why I say, hey, throw them in a cloud somewhere and just leave them there forever to make sure if anything ever happens, you have proof that you did the right thing. Now, of course, again, you do not need a realtor to sell your home, but I hope this video helped answer your question of, do you want to have a realtor? Because I know for me, if I were to sell my home and I wasn't a realtor, I most definitely would. And of course, there are a million items that brokers do every day for clients, and there is no possible way to do a comprehensive video on everything a broker does. But I hope this gives you a general idea. And again, all that being said, you do not have to hire a broker, but if you don't want to deal with all this stuff yourself, then that's definitely the route you should go. Now on to our bonus round, which is, do buyers need a realtor? Well, they don't need one any more than a seller needs one, but there is almost no reason not to have a realtor as a buyer. Realtors are in large part paid for by the seller. So having a single point of contact to help you, schedule homes, help you find a home, finding a really good mortgage officer, navigating a purchase agreement, getting inspections, getting to close, and then so much more is pretty much a no-brainer, especially if it doesn't cost you anything. Now, I do have a video on the way in more depth on what a realtor is going to do for a buyer. So I'm just going to throw a card up, I don't know, like right here, if you want to take a look at that. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe for future content. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please comment below. And if you are looking for a realtor, please contact me directly. My info is in the description, or you can go to abqhomeanswers.com for more information. This has been Leland the Realtor, keeping real estate simple. Have a wonderful day. Now, don't forget, even if you don't live in Albuquerque, I have a large network of realtors and definitely have one in your area. So if you're looking for a broker anywhere, please get in touch.